Growing up, I always saw Soulsborne's games as those scary games I've only heard of. Those way harder games compared to what everyone else was playing. I didn't know anyone who had actually beaten them, let alone even played them at the time. That changed when I met a friend in high school during my junior year. For now, we'll call this friend Kibbs. I talked to him daily in my tech class, as everyone did, about random nonsense. I remember expressing a desire for a real challenge in video gaming after spending most of my time with COD and other random classics like GTA, Minecraft, and Pokemon. I won't go into it too much because I want to talk about my prior gaming history in a couple of videos, but anyways, Kibbs brought up Dark Souls 3. I've heard about it, but I was interested. I've always thought of these games like a scary monster lurking in the closet, and I was always too scared to confront them. I literally always thought it was like an outlier in my head of a game that I probably just never was gonna play because it was scary. I didn't want to get slaughtered by how hard everyone said this game was. I had heard all about how brutal but rewarding the Soulsborne games were. And you know what? Later that day, I went home and I purchased Dark Souls 3. Playing through Dark Souls 3 was honestly one of the most amazing gaming experiences I've ever had. And also one of the worst. As my very first Souls game and playing completely blind, I had no idea what I was in for. I chose the Knight starting class because it seemed the best and I loved the Knight theme. I fell in love with the aesthetic of Dark Souls 3 and that made me want to explore every inch the game had to offer because I wanted to see all these bosses. I wanted to see all these areas. I loved the entire vibe. I remember spending a couple hours during that first night trying to defeat the first boss, Udex Gundyr, if I'm saying that properly, the first boss who essentially gatekeeps you from progressing any further. People know this boss because he is notorious for stopping like just random people who want to play this game and actually play through it, because you have to learn everything about Dark Souls, well, kind of, in order to get past them. You have to learn that you have to dodge and when to attack. You have to learn actually how to play the game properly. Being a noob at this point, the following day I talked to Kibbs about how I can get better at the game. He simply told me I just had to keep trying to learn his moveset, and I now realize that singular statement can be applied to every single enemy in the Soulsborne game. That night, I faced him again and again to what I thought would finally beat him, and I just kept struggling. A couple days pass and I come back, and this is when I discover that the boss had a second phase. And this is crazy because until that moment, it didn't even cross my mind that a boss could have like a whole second phase. Before this, I didn't think like bosses could do that. So seeing an actual dedicated second phase come out of a boss completely caught me off guard. That cost me another like couple nights of a couple hours of trying. After I finally defeated the boss, the sense of accomplishment I felt after beating him was insane. I felt like I actually deserved it. I learned that boss, and I took him down because I got better. Not because I got something in the game that made me better. I did it. Going through this game was a beautiful experience that boiled down to me learning everything there is to know about Dark Souls through the game itself or from my knowledge master Kibbs at school. See, Kibbs never played the game. He sadly never had access to them, but he dove crazy deep into YouTube, learning everything he could about them. Instead of searching something up and having the game spoiled for me, I really wanted to stick to having this passionate person loosely guide me in the right direction. Some days I'd tell him where he was and he would mention an upcoming boss or an armor set I was near. And I think this is also what made me love playing games blind. Experiencing something so fresh, whenever some comes out of the corner, it feels 10 times more insane because you really didn't see it coming. Most everything now is spoiled by, let's say, trailers or it being said online. Playing a game completely blind is one of my favorite things to do, and this is where that came from. But now it's no matter what game I play, playing it blind, for the most part, has been awesome. I progressed through the game, and this is when I learned that there was huge expansive areas in the game that you could just completely skip and still beat the game. This doesn't even make sense. You're telling me there is huge parts of the map that I could just completely skip? And also, you're telling me if I didn't break this bridge and go down this apparent ladder, I would have missed an entire area? I couldn't imagine finding this completely blind. Thankfully, this is where Kibbs guided me, and I appreciate him for that. But it sucks because I want to play games blind, and imagine if I completely missed out on that. But however, on the other side of that, I can also see it being extremely awesome if I found that on my own, saying, huh, like, if you damage this bridge enough, it might actually come down. And then, like, you looking down, I don't know, just finding that on your own would be utterly insane. Or maybe there's some note or something that leads to it. I don't know. It'd be so cool just experiencing that. I kept on through the game, and the most troubling bosses I faced were the Abyss Watchers and Pontiff Sullivan. The Abyss Watcher, one of my favorites, known as another gatekeeper. If you got through Udex Kandir, this guy was gonna surely smack you out if you really weren't dedicated. I loved his fight, the music, and it being like a multi-fight, how there's other people in the arena. Oh, that made it so difficult. I remember I specifically had to learn to just ignore the ads and like the smaller bosses on the side and just go for the boss. And that's what I did until I got to another second phase, which blew my mind because it had a full cutscene. Oh, it's just, this game blew my mind in every turn. I finally took him down. The next hardest boss being Pontiff. Oh, he threw me for a loop too because his moveset was just utterly insane. But he's another boss that felt completely amazing to take down. By the end of Dark Souls 3, I was very confident and honestly in love with the game. I ended up using a greatsword throughout the game. It wasn't a crazy build, just pure strength, but it taught me how to tackle all of the bosses in Dark Souls, and I loved it for it. After defeating the Lord of Cinder, I felt an incredible sense of completion. After about, I'd swear, a full week of tries, I'd say around 100, I finally defeated him. Learning his moveset and witnessing the impressive spectacle of him switching different weapons types, which required me to adapt, made the victory even more satisfying. I earned that win with no summons, a pure one-on-one, and I believe that feeling is what I chase in Dark Souls games. Literally after I beat this game, I didn't touch a video game for a couple weeks. It felt so good. And it felt surreal for me being like a gamer teenager. I played games all the time. I was done for weeks. I felt genuinely accomplished. The game struck me in just the right way and it made me earn the victory. If you want a game that challenges you and you like the aesthetic and like would see yourself liking it, dedicate your time to it. I feel like it is so worth it if you want to actually challenge yourself against bosses. The story is great only if you do research and videos on it, because other than that, you're going to have kind of no idea what's going on. But whether it's exploring areas, uncovering secret weapons, weird plot lines, bosses, Dark Souls 3 was my first and my intro to a challenge, to my best challenge in gaming and my favorite and best reward in gaming. This game, with its vast exploration and its challenges, was exactly what I needed at the right time, and it just locked me in as a gamer. It sounds so nerdy, but it so did. I really do love that game. Even learning the different NPCs, even as tedious as they were, learning their quest lines through kibbs and learning that you can fail some and you have to do a second playthrough. I didn't, like, the fact that these guys were completely fine with locking content away from you blew my mind at the time. I don't know, this like warped my mind in gaming. And beating it, like, going to another game, my timing was awesome. And this only made me ready for Sekiro. Thanks, guys. This was another one of my scripted videos. I'm enjoying trying to learn how to write a script and talk on the fly. Once again, I mainly create this for my personal reflection. I really love Dark Souls 3, and it had such an impact on me. I had to create this video. Hope you guys enjoyed my story. See ya.